Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about the rate of progress. Now for a lot of people, if they're on or they've started some sort of fat loss program journey, it can be quite demoralizing when progress may stop completely or really slow down. And I'm going to go through some of the reasons why that might be happening, what to do, and what to expect if you're going to really kind of achieve those long-term goals that you set yourself. Hear it all the time, people starting something but never finishing it because they hit like a stumbling block, or as I said, things started to slow down. So I'm going to highlight a few things that are going to hopefully get some clarity for you so you can expect these things and have a more understanding of how I would go about helping a client to get around these stumbling blocks and how to move through them. So the rate of progress. Now a lot of people think they'll start a program and progress if they follow something with nutrition or training, that it will continuously, there will be this straight line upwards to their goals, and it's a straight line. Well, it isn't. There are peaks and troughs, and you've got to expect them. They're a part of the journey. And what I say to a lot of my clients is, when you hit one of these plateaus, when things start to stop, it's probably, most likely, a sign that you are making progress. And now we need to shift something, change something, manipulate something for then you to move on to that next level, to reach those new goals, okay? So the rate of progress and how to track progress. This is really important. This is where I wanted to start off. Yes, taking your weight as a coach is a variable, but there's many other variables that we need to take into consideration so we can make a more educated decision on when we need to change something. So we can track progress through scale weight, pictures, clothes, and health and lifestyle. What I mean about health and lifestyle is basically, how do you feel? How are you sleeping? Is your sleep optimized? Do you feel energized? Are you motivated? You know, if you are worn out and you're tired all of the time, it's most likely something might be off that we need to address. But taking all these things into consideration is really important, and tracking as many variables as we can is only going to help us in the long term. Okay, so then what to expect if we start a program in terms of progress and weight loss, or should we say fat loss? Okay, so in the early stages, you might find, and I have in some clients, when they start to implement nutrition, when they start to implement this new stimulus from their training, they'll get a quick drop off, like 4 to 5 pounds in the first week or so. And this is understandable due to the changes, the restriction in food, the understanding of better foods or changing of foods, and actually just moving more. You know, if we set someone a certain amount of steps to do and they double the steps that they do normally, it's going to have a big effect. And sometimes you will find in the early stages, 4 to 5 pounds will drop off, okay, just by making some changes. That mid stage, then you start looking at more like 1 to 2 pounds a week. Sometimes you'll have a few weeks in a row where you only get £1. This is a really good place to be. And like, again, I say to a lot of my clients, I want small, manageable progress. So each week, just those small 1 to 2 pounds is a great place to be. As a coach, I feel that is telling me that you're eating well, you're not under eating, so lots of weight's coming off, because that's not going to be sustainable, and you're most likely going to feel like you're going to feel awful because you're not getting enough food in. So we're looking for that, particularly in this mid-range, 1 to 2 pounds. £1 is fine, absolutely fine, good place to be. Now what I've named this last bit is the digging phase, that phase where you've been on something for 8, 9, 10, 12 weeks, things are really going to slow down. Even 0.5 pounds per week, very small amount, because we've been on something for a long amount of time. We're now starting to have to really dig deep. Cardio might have come up, training may be a little bit more difficult now, food may have been restricted slightly, and we're finding things tough now. And that's understandable. You know, we're trying to reach those big long-term goals. At some point, we're going to have to dig and we're going to have to work really, really hard. and then progress is going to slow a little bit. We're going to have to work a little bit harder to get that extra few pounds off, and it's going to come down to like that 0.5 pounds per week, and that is completely understandable. So this is a nice place to be. If we're seeing big drop-offs, it's not sustainable. If we're seeing plateaus for large periods of time, like 2, 3, 4 weeks, something's not right. We're not in a deficit with our food, or we're not training hard enough, or we're not getting enough sleep and recovery. So these are the first things I want you to think about in terms of the rate, or what to expect from your rate of progress. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that can slow progress down or stop progress. And I've just listed some of the ones that I speak to a lot of my clients about. Now, the first one is adherence and consistency. So if you have quite a lot of structure on a Monday to Friday, that's where most people have structure with work and things like that, you can stick to a plan because you have to have that strictness with your food. But come Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, most people can go off plan. So it's really important that we can put larger amounts of time together and become a lot more consistent with your nutrition. It's one thing that can really throw people off. And for a lot of people, weekends, you need to start looking at what are the habits that are stopping you? What are the things that you're doing of the weekend that is pushing you off track? Or is it people that you're hanging around with? Can you change that? Can you just change your habits? The next one, poor sleep and recovery. Hugely overrated, but being able to recover well, being able to sleep and get consistently good sleep and good quality sleep is so important. If you do this, you're going to train harder, you're going to be able to recover better, you're going to have more energy, and you're just going to be able to put more consistent amount of time together. So sleep and recovery is a huge one. Not in a calorie deficit. So a big one, if you're not losing weight, you're doing all these other things, you're training well and everything, but you're not losing weight, it's most likely because you're not in a calorie deficit. So start tracking and make sure you know what your calories are, and then we can manipulate them. Not training with intensity. So most people can go in the gym, and get through a session without really pushing themselves. So you need to make sure that you're consistently trying to outperform your last performance and really getting every last ounce of energy out of that session and out of those exercises that you're performing. Not moving as much. So you may have been doing a lot of steps, you may have been doing 10,000 steps every day, but then that may have dropped off, and you're just naturally, your NEAT output has just dropped, and you're not moving as much, therefore you're not burning as many calories. Stress, huge one. So start to try and manage your stress. Everyone is going to have stress within their lives, but being able to manage it is going to be hugely beneficial to your progress. And optimizing all these things are really going to help you work towards success. So don't just look at like, I need to train, I need to eat well. Look at all these other things that really can have a real big impact on if we're going to make progress or not. So what can we do if we and when we hit a plateau? And as I said earlier in the video, this is inevitable, but there are a few things that we can do. So the first one is we can manipulate your daily expenditure, your NEAT output, which is steps, general activity. So if you're covering 10,000 steps a day, then raising that up to 14, 15,000 over a day to day, this can have a massive effect because you're moving more, you're going to burn more calories. Training effectively. So how well are you training? Just step back and just look at how well you're training. Can you train better? Introduce cardio, and I would always go lean towards more LISS, steady state cardio. It's less stressful than HIIT. People can get outside and go for a walk or a jog or get on a bike or something like that, and can be implemented into your week quite easily. But it has to be very small and precise, so not just whacking a load of cardio in there, just bit by bit, just improving on it, doing a little bit more can really help you push through a plateau. Optimizing recovery and rest. So making sure that on your rest days that you are resting and you're getting optimal sleep, and you're able to rest efficiently to then train hard again in the gym. And the last thing we really want to do is lower your calories. So if we can change anything up here to get us through a plateau, then great, because as I said, Last thing we want to do is lower those calories. That's the last port of call, really. If we can change something up here, then great. But at some point we will most likely have to lower your calories, and we can implement something like a higher calorie day and then a lower calorie day, which is just basically creating more of a calorie deficit throughout the week. So there's a few different strategies that we can implement with your calories. Okay, so there's just a few things that you can implement into your week and to think about when you do that when you hit that inevitable plateau. So hope that's been helpful, guys. It's all about making progress. It's all about the results, but be mindful of the things that you can do and implement. It's not always about just doing more and more cardio or dropping your calories drastically low. There are all the things that you can look into to help you move forwards.